All right, we are live. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Stories from the Cold Dead Hands. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Benjamin Dowd Arrow. I am a world-recognized expert and authority on firearms in the United States, having published numerous publications on health and well-being related to firearms, as well as the social determinants of gun ownership and gun policy support. In other words, why do people own guns, and why do they want to have certain policies like concealed carry? We here on the Cold Dead Hands, this is a radio show dedicated to uplifting the voices of victims. Too often the media focuses on the people who perpetrate these acts, and then we forget the lives that were actually lost. My co-host tonight is Brett Cross. Brett.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Brett Cross. I lost my son Uzziah in the Robb Elementary School shooting here in Uvalde, Texas on May 24th, 2022. Since then, I've been fighting to get common sense gun reform passed and to keep Uzi's memory alive through different ventures and mediums, such as, the nonprofit Rise for You, as well as, this radio show as well.
And tonight we have a special guest, someone who has never actually listened to our show before, I found out tonight. My co-host's wife, Nikki. Nikki, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nikki Cross, and I am Brett's wife and Uzziah's mom. No, I haven't listened to the show, but that's just because these stories are really hard to hear at times, so...
No. Yeah, you got to protect that mental health for sure.
Yeah, you got to protect your peace. I'm only teasing, partially teasing. So live, laugh, toaster bath. I get it.
Out of the gate.
Out of the
my
gate.
Guy. Damn.
We haven't been on the air in a while. So, Nikki, normally as we do this show, we talk about who the person was, and I think we've talked about Uzziah a few times on here, but you have a different perspective, being the mom, but also you spent more time with him, before everything, happened. So why don't you start talking about, who Uzziah was, and the things, leading up to that day, and we'll get there eventually.
So, I got to meet Uzziah for the first time when he was 4 years old. Him and his two siblings came to visit. Their birth mother is my biological half-sister. So she and I were reconnecting in adulthood, and I found out she had 3 children around my children's ages, and they came to visit, and him and our son became instant best friends, immediately bonding over superheroes and just their really imagination. I mean, they were just super close, playing all the time, and so kept in pretty close touch with them throughout the years. And Uzziah and my son, they talked on the phone all the time. And when we moved here to Uvalde, we brought Uzziah and his siblings to live here after being here for a bit. And I can say he was very, very loving boy, the middle child of his siblings. He has an older sibling and a younger sibling, and so being the middle child, he came with a spunk, right? Those middle children, they have no back down in them. They don't care. The rules don't apply to them or something. I'm not really sure, because I'm the older sibling, so I'm very rule oriented, and where Uzziah was not. He was very expressive, liked what he liked, didn't like what he didn't like, had an opinion about it, and really was very verbal with that. I mean, he was not afraid to tell you things. But also, he was just that type of kid that was friends with everybody. I mean, he got bullied at the school he previously attended in San Angelo a little bit there. He just said school was really hard. It is a bigger school district, too. Uvalde's a little smaller, so coming here, he got to experience public school, where they didn't wear uniforms. It was just a little more relaxed. He also had a male teacher for the first time when he came here to Uvalde, so he's pretty excited about all that. He did struggle in school a little bit. His grades weren't the greatest. He had a stutter. and his reading vocabulary and math were just kind of, he actually even got held back a grade for that. So he was starting to improve on all that there in the 4th grade. So he gets here, he's pretty nervous for the first day of school, but excited to find out he's got a male teacher. He's excited to meet all the new kids. He got here in Uvalde just in time for our school to start. So I think it was like maybe 4 days, babe, right? Like,
Yeah, it was right then.
yeah, so we had just enough time to go school clothes shopping for them, make sure they have all their supplies to get them right into school. Him and our son were kind of disappointed they weren't in the same class, but I did figure that was probably for the best so that they each could individually make friends and experience life in school without, having to be with each other all the time. So they actually really liked that, and meeting friends through each other. Jackson, he was fairly new to the school district too, so just loved playing outside, literally doing anything. Trampoline, basketball. Basketball was his favorite sport, of course. And but I think even when the kids would get him to say, let's play tag, or let's ride our scooters or our bikes or whatever, I think he was just down to do anything that was outdoors. Just had so much energy. And if they were indoors too long, my stuff got broke, right? Holes in the wall, my stairwell. He broke the light in the stair the same day that he moved in. Within maybe an hour of being here, he broke the hallway light playing basketball in the stairs with his siblings. So, never a dull moment. Always something interesting and funny. And I think he was really the voice in our home. Definitely a glue that somehow kept everybody on their toes and just going, because you had to keep up with Uzziah, right? Like, it was pretty difficult to do at times, but very unique in his sense of taste, foods, very unique. I'm telling. I think we said before, like apples and barbecue sauce, but only from McDonald's. So only McDonald's apple slices, only McDonald's barbecue sauce, gross. And they somehow magically went together.
That is so gross. That children
and they
eat
do not
the
go
damnedest
together.
Things, okay? Like, they will... no.
I have never tried it. He tried to get me to try it a few times. I said, absolutely not.
Children
absolutely
that age
not.
Eat like pregnant women.
Yes. The other very unique thing was the blue Takis inside of his Nutella sandwich, which turns a really gross green color with brown and blue all mushed in there. I still have not tried that. There are people around the world now who have tried that and let us know it's not that bad. But I'm like, no, you're never going to convince me that tastes good. Not even for Uzziah.
I don't trust it, and I won't try it out of principle.
But
I can't.
No, one of my friends, I say that because one of my friends, when she was pregnant, would do shrimp dipped in strawberry sauce. And I'm just like,
yuck.
No. It's like
but getting him to eat
salty
vegetables
thing.
Out of the question, right? No vegetables, but we can eat apples and barbecue sauce or Nutella and Takis. But yeah, he liked what he liked. He was the s'mores Pop-Tarts for breakfast every morning. Nothing else, just s'mores Pop-Tarts. I would say every school morning. How about that? Plus, we had to wake up early for the bus. They rode the bus to school, so I get it. It was quick, easy in the morning. Eat the Pop-Tart and get on the bus. So,
now, one of the things...
He made friends pretty quick, though, huh?
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that I don't think Brett and I have talked about is, what did he feel about school? How did he like when he was here?
I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but he really did enjoy school in Uvalde, I think, for the simple fact that he was around more kids that look like him.
Right.
Kids more similar to him. Versus in San Angelo, he was in very white school. I mean, that's just plain as day to put it. He didn't get to be around many of the kids like that, but the same culture and stuff. So he was pretty excited for that here. And made a bunch of friends the first day of school, came home telling me all names. I got a best friend the first day, and that best friend remained with him until the last day. So they just clicked, and it was them in this little group. And he talked about being bullied at his other school, so he really wanted to be nice to kids here and be everybody's friend here, which I think he tried anyways at his other school. It just wasn't as effective. But from my understanding here, everyone knew him, and he was friendly to everybody, which I knew he would be. So,
yeah.
And he was nervous about his grades because, like I said, he had kind of struggled in school before, and he was doing a lot better here.
Yeah. You think that was because he felt more confident by being around people that were, that looked like him, or was it the smaller classroom size, the change of environment, or just a combination of all that?
I think it was definitely a combination of all of that, and especially he talked about Mr. Reyes a lot. He was very fond of Mr. Reyes. Always had nothing but good things to say. And also, I think for one of the first times, aside from Brett, he had a positive male role model in his life. And I think that came at a very just vital time, at being in the 4th grade for a little boy and having Mr. Reyes be a positive male figure in his life. I think that really did start to help him a lot. And he started to enjoy school. I mean, there was never a day, no playing hooky, no, I don't want to go. I mean, he was up and ready for it every day. Yeah, he loved it. Excuse me. So, plus just being with friends, like I said, he was just friends with everybody. So I think that was another way for him to enjoy school, just getting to be with his friends all day long.
So, you talked about he liked to be outside. He liked to do everything outside. Like, what else was he into? We know that he liked Spider-Man, but beyond that.
So he did like sports, a lot of sports, as a matter of fact. Football, he really enjoyed football. Basketball was his favorite sport, but he hadn't had the opportunity to play like team-oriented sports yet. So this was basically when he would be playing, he's like playing catch outside with his siblings or somebody like that. We would shoot hoops out. We had a basketball go. We would shoot hoops out there. And also soccer he was interested in, really wanted to play soccer. He didn't fundamentally know much about it yet, but what he saw, he liked, and he wanted to try. So he was looking forward to being able to sign up for those sports the following year. So I think he would have played any sport, though. I mean, he was just really active and athletic. I think that he would have probably tried every sport imaginable when he got to those ages. So
yeah. So how did the integration go with him coming into your already made family there with you and Brad?
Well, the good thing about all of the kids and us, we had already very much bonded with them. They would come to see us weekends, holidays, and because they're my kids and them were same ages, it went really well. And my kids, there was 4 of them at home. Bringing them in, nobody struggled with it at all. Everybody kind of had their own spaces, except for Uzziah and our son. They're same age. They were the only ones that shared a bedroom, but they liked it. I think they thought it was pretty cool after being best friends for so long. Now they're brothers. So, it was really, really fairly easy for having so many children under one roof, actually. They're pretty easy kids, everybody is, so.
Yeah, like in the first day, because, I remember when Uzi was like, I always wanted a bigger brother, on day one, even though, he's technically older than Jackson. So,
yeah, size-wise, Jackson is taller and bigger than Uzziah. So Uzziah wasn't understanding how he is technically the big brother, but it was pretty funny. They're only a few months apart in age, so.
No, that's adorable. That is cute.
We also made sure to have Uzziah have his own separate things. So he had his own side of the room decorated the way he wanted. He picked out his own bedding for the brand new bed that he had, which he was so excited to pick out that bedding. All matching, he picked out things to hang on the wall. He had his own little gaming area. So I think he really just felt like right at home. They had come from a house where they were all sharing a bedroom. So I think getting to be out in his own room where he could decide all the things was pretty exciting for him. Is what he expressed to me anyway, is like just picking out everything. He's like, oh my gosh, I can have this. I really like that. Can I decorate like this? We're like, yeah, dude, decorate with how you want. Go wild, So, and plus their taste, him and our son, pretty similar. So I think they were very easy. Same with the girls. They have some of the exact same interests and styles and stuff, and they're teenagers. So they instantly, of course, bonded, and I really think it was easy.
Yeah. Well, we've talked to Brett on here quite a bit about how everything happened. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked him the first time this story was told. And looking back in hindsight, what did the night before kind of feel like for you now that you look back and know what is going to happen?
Well, to think about it right now, it feels very rushed. Especially since we're always so busy in the evening times with so many kids, getting everybody showered and everything. But I actually was barely getting back into town I was out of town for a few days, helping my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law and father-in-law at the hospital. I went to go help them for a few days. So I was just getting back in town because I wanted to be here for the award ceremony that was going to take place and the last few days of school, just all the activities they were having. So I had just gotten back and we were rush. Let's everybody make sure we get, everybody showered, get all your clothes out, get, everything ready. And now I just feel like, I don't know, there's never going to be enough time, of course, beforehand. But they were in bed by like about 10 p.m., finally asleep, and just really excited, like he's for the last days of school, just looking forward to the summer. We had a family trip that we're planning to do because we hadn't got to do anything all year long with just the kids since it was a school year and they just got here and all that stuff. So we were planning on trying to have like a little small camping trip or something away with just all of us. I just, you don't get those moments back. So, like, I think the only way to express it is just, I wish it would have been a little slower. I wouldn't have been so busy to just try to get them to bed. And same with the next morning. It was like, we actually ended up waking up a little later. I was like, hurry, get dressed. It feels like I didn't really even see, just get on the bus, like to think about those moments. I'm just like, what was so important, Nikki? What was the rush, but it's typical.
No, I think we all fall into those ruts, right? Like where we're like, we have our day-to-day routine and we're like, we can make up the family time tomorrow. Let's just get through the day, the night, get to bed so that we can all get through the workday tomorrow. And I think that's pretty typical of a lot of people in this country because, well, I mean, most of us don't ever think that's going to happen to us, right? Like,
there is no way I ever imagined this could be possible. Of course, I had known about other incidences, right. But it was always like, oh no, not here. Like, this is too small of a, but even Uvalde is actually even a bigger city than what I grew up in. So to me, it's fairly big, but compared to our surrounding cities, San Antonio, Del Rio, I mean, this is nothing. So it was like, we're also like kind of just out in the middle of nothing. So no, there's no way I ever thought that we would be living through something like this.
Yeah, and I think that's also common that a lot of people feel like it's something that happens way away from here, right? Like, or in bigger cities, it's not something that could ever happen in my town. I mean, I live in Tallahassee, and there's anywhere from like 150, 160,000 people, and even I feel like this is too small of a town for something like this to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we both know better. We both know differently. one of the differences with you and Brett is that you did get to see him that morning and you went to the awards show. You want to talk about all of that?
So back then I was door dashing just for extra cash. And like I said, we were planning on a little vacation. So I was, saving up for stuff like that. So I was door dashing, looked at the time. It was time for the award ceremony, but I had gotten there a little late. So I wasn't real close. Plus, I was new to this community too. I didn't know anybody here, just me and my kids, which I loved. Didn't bother me a bit. So I get there and I'm kind of in the back, but I make sure he sees me, like, hey, I'm here, I made it. And got to see him he got a B on a row. And that is something that he worked pretty hard for. Because like I said, he struggled with school before. So he was super proud of that. And my regret, they were getting ready to go back to the classroom. He was like, mom, can I go to my friend's house after school? And I was like, oh my gosh, you ask me this every day, kid. Like, we'll talk about it after school. He's like, I said, are you sure you don't want to just come home now? You're like, they're not doing anything for the rest of the day. He's like, no, we're going to watch Addams Family. And I want to be there with my friends. And I said, okay. And I did not take a photo of him holding his award because we have really beautiful bushes out front of our house, and I love to take their first day of school photos there. And I also I wanted to take the photo of him there so I could send it to like grandparents and stuff, and so I didn't take the photo at the school, and now I'll never get to. So the photo of him that's out there of him holding the awards is just one that I found of another parent who thankfully had that I could zoom in on. But yeah, there's a lot of wish I would have just slowed down, right? Like I feel like everything was so rushed and right there at the end of school. So that's one of them, especially. I just wish I would have taken the photo really quick. But he did stay because he wanted to watch the Addams Family with his friends.
Yeah. Well, it's really easy to blame yourself, right, for not slowing down, right? But,
yeah.
The reality is that that's not your fault. Right.
Yeah, I know. I think every parent just feels that way though. Like I'm always rushing, or but
yeah, no. You leave. And
yeah,
gone,
I go.
What, 15 minutes.
I go back.
20 minutes later.
I think it was about 30, maybe-ish. I could be wrong. But yeah, it felt very quick. I had just got back on. I don't know if y'all know much about DoorDash, but you work on your phone. So I get back in the car, turn it back on. I go to start. I'd only made a couple of deliveries. And then I came back to my house to check on everybody that was here. We had one kid home that day, which is his brother, who was also in the 4th grade in a different classroom. He was at home that day. So I stopped by check-in, and my high school age daughters start texting me, and they're like, Mom, oh my God, look, they sent me a Snapchat video, and I'm watching it, and I see, a guy dressed in all black going into school, big gun in hand. Can we say that on here? Yeah. Okay. In hand. And I'm like, what is this? What am I watching? My daughters are like, there's a shooter at Uzziah's school. And I was like, what? Right? No. And I thought like this was just like high school kids, in the school year. I just thought they were like making up shit, right? Because I was like, there's no way. But I just jump in the car and I go straight to Robb Elementary. I get there and there's already a few police everywhere. So I have to park pretty far back, but that's okay. I park right in front of Uzziah's friend's house. I see the mom outside. She's like, the boys are not here. And I'm like, what the hell? So I don't know. I just run up to the school. I start asking questions. Of course, the police that are there are not saying much. There's a bunch of dads. There's different stories. This officer looking me in my face tells me that this was they call them vehicle bailouts here, which is where, literally what it sounds like, right? Vehicle gets pulled over or wrecked or something and they run. So that's what they were trying to tell me it was. I said, no, sir, no. And I have like the Snapchat video like in my hand on my phone, and I'm like, absolutely not. There's someone in there. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, he seemed kind of confused. Like he maybe didn't know that that's what was happening. I wasn't sure, so I moved to a different officer. Didn't get any better there. Some of the other parents were confused. And then they said, well, we're talking to him. We're like, talking to him about what? Like, get him out of the school, get him away from our children. Like, I see this taking place, but so much confusion out there with absolutely nobody even trying to give us any type of answers, which for obvious reasons now we know why. But at the time, I see all the police outside. I'm like, I know this man is in there. Some of the other parents are telling me what they know, which was not much else than what I got to. Some of that video had already been passed around. And so we were like, where is he? Where is he? Where's the kids? Are our kids okay? The only things we were getting would be like, he's in an office inside there. And I'm thinking of the layout of the school. I've been in there so many times. So I'm like, there's not even an office. I don't know there's not an office right there. I'm confused. It's just 4th grade hallway. Just classrooms. And I'm like, where? So maybe he, isn't in that part, just we're asking so many questions, no answers. And I actually, I heard gunshots coming from in the school. And we started panicking. We don't know what's happening. And I'm like, if he's in an office, like, what is the gunshot coming? They shoved me to like, get me out of the way, but like into a car almost that was parked there for cover. Cause like, again, we don't know where these are like coming from. And I call Brett. I'm like panicking, and for some reason, the words that come out of my mouth is like, this is not a drill, right? Like, this is real. You need to get here. There's a shooter in Uzziah School. And he's like, what? Dave, I think you're 45 minutes away?
45 minutes, yeah. You when you called me, you were just screaming. You said, this is not a fucking joke. And I'm like, what? And you're like, there's a shooter here. And I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. And then, I
think I said it that way because I genuinely felt it in the beginning, like, there's no way this is real. So I guess that's why I'm like screaming to you, like, this isn't a joke, please, get here. After those shots though, things started to get kind of crazy outside with, as far as like, obviously parents were concerned for what we just heard, which this man in front of me once again tried to tell me that was not gunshots that we heard. I'm telling y'all, I would say not to shit on the police, but no, shit on the police. They didn't know shit. They didn't know anything out there. I just tried to go based off of what I was looking at. And I'm angry today because I looked out at that school and I saw officers in the shade drinking water, walking around. It did not seem like they were panicked. Didn't feel very worrisome. It kind of like, okay, maybe he is kind of contained in a part of the building. They're just trying to talk to him. Maybe that's why, right? So I just kept telling myself, like, okay, well, if the police are not panicking, like, okay, we're not going to panic. And I've always been that person that like didn't want to make a scene, right? Didn't want to embarrass my kids or be wrong, right? What if I start screaming and yelling and make a scene and then I'm wrong? So I had so many things going through my head. Like, I want to be able to stay here so that when he does come out of that school, I'm the first person he gets to see, right? So I have to behave because I've already been watching parents get thrown to the ground and people shoved this way and that way. So I'm like, I was literally right at the front where the street is. And so I didn't want to have to move. I wanted to be able to stay in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was about to ask that it was around the time of the gunshots that the parents start to try to go in, and the police then arrest the parents or tackle the parents or restrain the parents, rather than go deal with the shooter.
I don't recall who now, but I'm sure you could pull up body cam footage of the guy who said that they would be inside, except they're out here having to deal with us. But
That was Max Dorflinger.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and he didn't say it in such a nice way either. I just don't remember his exact language, but it was pretty shitty.
Yeah, he had
pretty much
plenty of time to go inside, and his coward ass stayed outside. He was using the parents as an excuse for his cowardice.
Which quite a few of them out there were, telling us that we were somehow hindering them from, because, we are constantly like, why won't you go in? I'm looking at a guy with a huge ass gun in my face. Why aren't you in that school? What are you doing? Like, why are you out here? We're not the problem. Go in there. There was some dads even that wanted to go in, that wanted to take their own weapons and go in, begging these police officers, let me go in, let us go in, let us figure this out. But it was horrible. I mean, I don't need to try to describe it. It is really unreal, because I feel like in that moment, I'm just watching all of these things take place, and all I want to see is my son. Please, just let me see his face. Let me see some sign that he's okay, and I'll stop. Like, right? I'll back up. I'll gladly go to whatever location you want us to, but let us see them. Let us just have some type of assurance. But that was not happening out there. There was also a situation, I was pretty close to the funeral home, just because that's the corner that I was on. That door, I went straight there. I should have said that in the beginning, because I knew where Uzziah's classroom was. That's the building I went to. So that's the side of the street I'm on. I'm not in the front of the school. I'm literally at the same door that I saw the shooter walk into. And that is right next to the funeral home. And over there, whole nother crazy situation going down. I guess there was some kids inside of the funeral home. There was parents wanting to see if that was their kids. That's where we have, JJ Suarez screaming and yelling he needs a bullhorn. Not really sure what he thought he was going to do with that, whatever. But he was over there throwing a fit about the bullhorn. And, even more parents in trouble over there. Like I said, I think in my mind, I was like, I cannot cause a scene. I cannot cause chaos, because I need to be right here. So, I'm kind of just in the middle of both sides of this shitstorm over here of police and border patrol, and they didn't even know what to do. Their cars were getting in the way of all kinds of things. I mean, there was absolutely no type of plan in place, for sure. It just seemed like every entity that got there was just doing their own thing. It was craziness. So
yeah, there was no coordination.
When they finally went in, and we heard all the gunfire, and then it was just quiet. There was no sound anywhere at all. It was just quiet. And we're like, is it over? Do we get it? And then we could hear screaming and yelling coming from the school. And I don't know if it's kids from other classrooms. I'm not really sure exactly where. I think they were even, I did see the kids that got evacuated through the window. That's right. Before everything ended, the Kim running out without shoes on, which was so confusing for us outside. Why didn't our kids have shoes on, right? Like, where are their damn shoes? We know now it's because they were all inside watching movies with their friends. They had their shoes off. And I think another class was doing even a project where they had shoes off. So yeah, there was a lot of that. But they just started telling us we had to go to the Civic Center. It's where they wanted us to go pick up our kids. We're asking, are they okay? Are they okay? We get a text message from Anne Marie Espinoza. In case y'all are wondering who she is, she's some type of communications expert or some shit for the school district. I don't know her exact title, but y'all know who I'm talking about. She sends out the text message that our children are okay, and we need to go pick them up at the Civic Center, where we'll be relocated with our children. I realize that is a massive text that she sent out to everybody. So we are being told we cannot stay at the school. They need to bring the buses in to get the kids, and we are in the way. So they're pushing us back, pointing guns at us, by the way, to push us back. They want us to move. There again, I don't want to be a problem. I'm going to get out of the way of the bus, but I want to stay right here, right? I didn't understand why we couldn't stay to see the kids. Like, I won't touch my kid. Put him on the damn bus, please, but I want to see him. Like, let us see. Multiple parents are saying this. Can I just stay right here? I just want to see. I just want to see my kid. They're like, no, you got to clear the scene. Get out of here. Go. So I call Brett and I'm like, just go straight to the Civic Center. Because I know it's going to take me a while to get out of there. And I wanted for when Uzziah to get to the Civic Center, in my mind, he was going to be the first one there, right? That's where your brain is taking you. So I'm like, you got to be there, babe. You be there, I'll get there. So we make a plan to go to the Civic Center. And it's chaos at the Civic Center. Just pure chaos, naturally so. They come up with this plan where they're going to bring one bus of kids at a time. And when they do, they will write the name of the teacher on this marker board that they had set up outside. And when you see your child's teacher, you can go into the Civic Center. You cannot touch your kids or talk, nothing while they're walking up to the Civic Center. They want us to stay back. I'm assuming so they can count kids. I'm not really sure, but I just stood there and I waited, and a bus would come and kids would get off, and it wasn't Uzziah or his teacher or anybody that I recognized. So we would wait. About 20, 30 minutes later, another bus would come. More kids would get off. It wasn't Uzziah. It wasn't Uzziah. It wasn't Uzziah. The crowd started getting a lot smaller. I was worried. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, where is he? Where is he? And finally, they just said, there's no more buses. There's no more buses coming. And I'm confused because I'm like, but he's not here. So how could that be true, right? Like, there has to be more buses. They don't tell us anything. I mean, they're literally just like, yeah, if you're left here, go inside. Go inside the Civic Center. Well, I didn't want to do that immediately. I wasn't going to just go inside the Civic Center and wait. So I had already heard that some kids had to go to the hospital. There again, it's not really clicking why. I'm not thinking that they've been shot, obviously, but I can't put it together, why they'd be at a hospital. But I tell Brett, I'm going to go look at the hospital. I get to the hospital. Oh, hell no. Pure madness. They already have police blocking off the doors. We're not allowed to go in. I see people in the waiting area, and one of the kids is one of the survivors. He's sitting there in a wheelchair. And because I'm freaking out so bad, this poor baby, now that I know him and his family, I've apologized to him, but I started asking him questions. Do you know Uzziah Garcia? Who is your teacher? What class did you come from? Because I'm freaking out, right? Like, I can't find my kid anywhere. And he just stares at me. And I'm just like, immediately it clicks to me like, oh my God, Nikki, start asking this little kid question. I apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to find my son. His mom's just looking at me. She doesn't say anything. And I'm like, move on. This is a little kid. I hear, this woman screaming and yelling about her husband's ear. He got hit with some shrapnel. You look at the body cam, you're going to put that together real quick. She was very concerned about this precious little ear. She's throwing a fit. I don't want to listen to it. I get to the doors. I'm like, can we go in? Can we go? How do we know? Can we go in? Is our kids here? What do we do? They're like, we're not letting anybody in. We're not letting. And nurse, she would come out and ask to see a photo of our kids. So on my phone, I show her a photo of Uzziah, and she comes back and she's like, not here. He's not here. And a few other moms, not here. So outside, I don't even remember who these moms were. To this day, don't even remember who I was talking to out there. But someone says, there's kids at the funeral home. And I'm like, what? Still? Okay. So I call Brett. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go check at the funeral home. I go to the funeral home. They're not letting anybody near Robb Elementary at this time. They have the streets so far blocked off. I can't get anywhere near funeral home. But of course, I get to the blockade. There's a few officers there. I'm like, kids in the funeral home. They told us our kids are in the funeral home. They still don't tell me anything. They don't say anything. They're just like, no, there's no kids in the funeral home. You need to go back to the Civic Center. I'm like, I already been to the Civic Center. I've been to the Civic Center. I've been to the hospital. Where are our kids? I think there was this is what I so hate about stuff like this. So much misinformation starts flying around. So the community is saying kids ran into the neighborhood, and I'm thinking my son, he'd be a runner, right? He's fast. He loves to run. Okay, he probably ran and hid somewhere. He doesn't know Uvalde very well. I don't even know if he would have known how to exactly get to his friend's house from the school. I'm assuming because they had before, but that's just how much he just didn't really know the town. So I'm like, he could be hiding somewhere scared. I post the photo of Uzziah. I put out his information, and I'm asking the community for help. Have you seen him? Which a lot of other parents did too. I'm getting nothing, so I just go back to the Civic Center. We're all in this little room. The Texas Rangers are in there. Again, I'm still like, he's out there somewhere, right? We're going to find him. But this room of people is not very big. There's not very many left in there. There's not a lot. And in that moment, I get on Facebook to try to check my post, right? To see if anybody has seen my little boy. And Greg Abbott is announcing to the entire world. I don't know the exact number at that moment, babe. I want to say he said 11 kids or 14. It wasn't the exact
14.
number.
It was 14.
He said that there was 14 dead children at Robb Elementary. And I'm like, what? That is the first time that any of us had heard that any children were shot. We didn't know. We had no idea. And I get really confused because this Texas Ranger in front of me is telling me that our kids could have been flown to a hospital or things like that. Nobody is saying anything else. So why would I don't know. It wasn't clicking to me that this is what happened. And I am pissed at Greg Abbott immediately, because how dare you? You're telling the whole world when I'm looking at a room full of parents who have no idea what you're talking about. So I show the Texas Ranger. I said, you're telling me my child is missing, but Greg Abbott is telling the whole world that there's children that are dead in the school. Are there children dead at the school? This man turned white as a ghost and just stared at me. He just stared at me and walked away. And even then, my heart couldn't tell me. There's no way that that's true. There's no way. He's not one of those kids. He's not one of those kids. We were there for hours. Hours. We'd given descriptions of our kids to everybody who asked. We did everything they wanted us to do, and we were just sitting in a room. And I do believe I was probably the first mom from the Civic Center. I'm not going to say the first mom to know in general, but from the Civic Center, they came to get me and took us